Hello, my name is Asia Johnson, and this is a pre-recorded presentation for the 2021 meeting of the Society for Mathematical Psychology. And I will be presenting on human program induction and abstract reasoning tasks. We recently collected data on the abstraction reasoning corpus, ARC for short. ARC consists of 1,000 tasks, each of which has 2 to 5 input and output pairs, and the goal of a user in ARC is to infer the correct underlying rule that transforms an input to an output, and to apply that rule to the test input. So as you might have guessed, the correct rule here is something like gravity, and the correct test output is this. So ARC is interesting to us for a variety of reasons. The first is that it's manually generated, which means that for algorithms that are trying to model ARC, it's difficult for them to find shortcuts, which has been a problem in other AI benchmarks to date. It's also a really diverse set of programs, so this is specifically relative to language of thought models, or LOTs for short, where, as you can see on the right, LOTs usually consist of a limited set of primitives that are composed to form longer programs. And these have been used in program induction models before, but due to ARC's manual generation, it has a much richer, much more diverse set of programs than something like a LOT could produce. And in part because of this, it was created as a benchmark of generality for both humans and machines. But prior to our data, and to the best of our knowledge, no data has been collected on ARC prior to us. And this is because ARC was created relatively recently in late 2019. So we ran a behavioral experiment where we sampled 40 of the tasks and recruited 96 participants on Mechanical Turk. Each participant did about 10 tasks, and they had 3 attempts to submit the correct answer in an on-timed fashion. And we recorded a written response for each task that participants did, where they supplied their best guess of what they thought the rule was. So in general, people are doing very well. In the top right, you can see average accuracy of tasks. And the bottom right, you can see a histogram of the number of tasks correctly solved by the number of participants who correctly solved that many tasks. And so in general, participants are doing well in getting all 10 tasks correctly, and in general, tasks have a pretty high accuracy, although there's considerable variability. So to recapitulate that, the average accuracy was 84%, and 65% of tasks are solved by more than 85% of participants. So in general, people did well at ARC. We can also look at action sequences. So this is an example of the interface that participants use to submit their answers. And as you can see, they have to build up their answer 1 grid cell at a time. So we can get a really rich behavioral data set of the action sequences that they're taking to submit their answers. And using this, we can generate these state space graphs where each node is one of the states in that task space. And the larger a node is, the more participants have visited that state. The larger the edges are, the more participants have traversed that transition. So for example, we can see that the starting state is always a 3x3 black grid, and that the ending state for most participants was the correct test output for this task. And given this, we can see some interesting patterns. So most people, one of the first things they do is correctly resize the grid, but then they take one of 2 paths. They either build up the leftmost column from the bottom up, like so, or they build it from the top down. So we can see these diverging paths that end up converging on the same states that most participants have to pass through to get to the right answer. We call these bottleneck states. We can also look at natural language descriptions. So for this task, there's a lot of really rich analogical words that people are using to map onto it, like Tetris and gravity, which is really interesting. And we can also do some analyses on description length. So one of our major findings is that description length predicts problem difficulty. So for instance, we find a significant negative effect of average description length on task accuracy. And we also find a negative correlation between average description length and task accuracy. And this is in line with previous findings in abstract reasoning tasks, which relate basically the shorter a verbal description is of a task, the easier that task tends to be. And that is all. Thank you so much.